Hello everyone, welcome to the Lightning Ball channel. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so and activate the notification bell. Your support fuels my continued efforts. In our last episode, we discussed how Rimuru and the primordial demon beauties began their challenge against the 8-gate formation set up by Velgrind. In the first battle, with Ciel's crucial assistance, Ajra and Esprit overcame the Empire's 5th-ranked Imperial Guardian, Garcia. This episode will cover the next two battles, Shion vs Insectar Minaza, and Soei vs Gardner. Let's get started. First, let's look at Shion's battle. Among all of Rimuru's subordinates, Shion's loyalty, in my view, is unmatched. Whether you call her brave but unthinking, or hot-tempered, Shion truly disregards her own life for Rimuru-sama. As soon as the 8-gate formation appeared, Shion charged into one of the gates without considering the dangers that might lie within. Her opponent was the Empire's 6th-ranked Imperial Guardian Manaza. Turning our focus to the battlefield, we see Shion fighting valiantly alone. With heavy breaths, Shion glared at her last remaining enemy, Insectar Minaza. Between them, countless insectoids lay defeated. Manaza, now in her tattered military uniform revealing her skin, held no allure, having ceased her human mimicry to return to her insector form. Manaza couldn't help but commend Shion, acknowledging her for defeating her children but asserting that Shion couldn't win. Despite her fatigue, Shion retorted arrogantly, advising not to underestimate her. She dismissed the insect minions as trivial, boasting about her experience fighting insectars, and mentioned her previous defeat of Razzle, who also claimed to be a fully transformed insector. Manaza's expression changed upon hearing this, unable to believe that the purple-haired woman before her was the one who had defeated Razzle, the Guardian of the West. Shion clarified that it wasn't a one-on-one fight, but Razzle was indeed defeated by her. Then, Manaza lowered her head, but suddenly let out a strange laugh. She genuinely thanked Shion for dealing with the traitor Razzle, explaining how their kind, insectars from another world, found refuge in the central world thanks to Emperor Rudra. However, Razzle refused to submit to Rudra, acting recklessly and siding with the Western countries, making his downfall well-deserved. Although Manaza clarified her stance, Shion failed to grasp the full context, or perhaps she chose not to delve into understanding it. However, there was one aspect Shion was particularly concerned about. Shion inquired whether, aside from Razzle, there were other kin of Manaza present in this world. At this moment, Shion was considering Zijin and Apito. If they were acquaintances or friends of Manaza, then eliminating Manaza might not be the best course of action. With this in mind, Shion decided to gather more information first. Manaza explained that many parallel worlds exist, with the other world being one of them. The other world, a realm severely lacking in resources to the point of being unable to sustain normal life, has repeatedly dispatched various races to invade this central world, aiming to expand their territory. Such invaders include the insectoids like Manaza and other similar beings like cryptids and phantoms. These races are demi-spiritual life forms, distinct from the spiritual life forms like demons, capable of acquiring physical bodies after spending some time in this central world. Their invasions were facilitated through underworld gates, and not all members of these invading races were united, with dissenters like Razzle being notable examples. Shion reasoned that Apito and Zijin, who were adopted by Rimuru while fleeing from someone, likely did not align with Manaza's faction. She was confident in this conclusion, partly because she had once experienced death and established a profound connection with Rimuru's skill, Lord of Wisdom, which evolved into Ciel. This evolution indirectly enhanced Shion's ability to deduce the truth from fragmented information. Grateful for the conversation, Manaza revealed her children were reviving. Her lower body expanded as ominous eggs hatched, thanks to her ability, Voracious Resurrection, which allowed her to consume her children's corpses and resurrect them. Observing Shion's exhaustion, Manaza sensed her opponent nearing her limit. However, Manaza's triumph was short-lived as her offspring were bisected by Shion's Odachi, Divine Hercules' Edge. The insectoids had indeed proven to be formidable adversaries to Shion, but Shion's unique skill, the Master Chef, equipped with the ability Optimal Action, enabled her to find the best solution instantly in any battle she had won before. This unexpected turnaround left Manaza, who had been so proud, frozen in shock. Nonetheless, a queen remained a queen. Fueled by anger, Manaza absorbed her children's power and transformed into her battle form, marking the beginning of a long and arduous fight. As Manaza launched a swift kick, countless poisonous needles showered Shion like rain. Shion, raising her odachi in defense, neutralized the attack before charging towards Manaza with a ferocity akin to a demonic apparition. Manaza, undaunted, clashed her hands against Shion's blade in a fierce contest of strength. Despite Shion's superior force, Manaza's impeccable defense, bolstered by her hard exoskeleton and Rudra's ultimate enchantment, rendered Shion's attacks ineffective. In a rapid turn of events, Manaza, recognizing Shion's prowess, unleashed another volley of poisonous needles. With no choice but to endure the damage and create distance, Shion found herself in a deadlock with Manaza. Each could inflict harm, but immediate regeneration nullified any lasting damage. Growing anxious, Shion, accustomed to overpowering her foes with brute strength, struggled to find a winning strategy against the surprisingly formidable Manaza. Despite her efforts, intellect alone wasn't enough to shift the battle's tide. Fortunately, Shion was under Ciel's protection. It was then that the Ciel, so-called ultimate skill sales bitch, intervened.
Shion, you possess the strength. Selecting the most suitable evolutionary direction took some time for me, but the decision is now made.
Recalling her empowerment by Rimuru, which granted her the title of warlord without any visible change after receiving 100,000 souls, Shion remembered how she had entrusted all decisions regarding her evolution to the previous Lord of Wisdom. While Benimaru had evolved to Divine Oni, Shion remained an Oni, content with her strength. But facing Manaza, her current power was insufficient. Reconnecting with Rimuru's soul corridor, Shion prepared for a new evolution.
The optimal choice is Battle Spirit Oni, Divine Fighter. As a superior holy demonic spirit, you will possess unparalleled physical might. Now, let's verify this ability.
Shion, focusing entirely on Manaza and leaving the rest to Ciel, felt a transformation. Her body shattered and reformed, evolving into the rare and powerful Battle Spirit Oni, optimizing her physique for combat. She gained infinite regeneration, becoming an eternal being as long as Magicule was present, essentially a spiritual life form. Now, Shion's attacks transcended physical harm, capable of inflicting spiritual damage, making her a natural predator to spiritual life forms. Shion's sudden surge of power startled Manaza, prompting her to reveal her true form in a bid to counter Shion's might. Manaza transformed, becoming even more grotesque to unleash her hidden ultimate technique, willing to sacrifice her own life if necessary. Her determination stemmed from her resolve to protect Emperor Rudra, which, by extension, meant safeguarding the future habitat of her species. Thus, she viewed anyone opposing Rudra as a threat to her race's sanctuary, deserving to die in agony. However, before Manaza could react, Shion launched an attack with her odachi, deploying the skill Chaotic Fate. The outcome was decided in an instant. Manaza was dissected by Shion's odachi, Divine Hercules Edge, reduced to mere chunks of flesh, with only half her head remaining attached to the mangled remains. The compatibility between Shion and Manaza was extremely unfavorable for Manaza. Initially, Manaza could hold her ground thanks to the advantage provided by ultimate enchantment, but after Shion's evolution, her willpower and soul strength reached the ultimate domain, completely changing the dynamics of their confrontation. Unable to comprehend the abrupt enhancement in Shion's power, Manaza sighed in disbelief, still harboring a faint hope that her offspring might overcome Shion. Yet, Shion's Chaotic Fate had already annihilated Manaza's brood. Observing Manaza, Shion felt a trace of pity. As Manaza neared her end, she warned Shion of her inability to defeat the Insect Lord. With those final words, Manaza's life came to an end, leaving the identity and capabilities of the mentioned Insect Lord shrouded in mystery. Shion shook her head, dismissing these thoughts, and exited the battlefield. The focus then shifts to Soei, who had been covertly observing Rimuru's epic battle against the two true dragons using body clone. Witnessing such a monumental fight was undoubtedly fortunate. Rimuru, facing Veldora and Velgrind, managed not only to hold his ground but also to evolve by absorbing Storm Dragon Veldora, subsequently overpowering an enraged Velgrind. The extent of Rimuru's newfound strength was beyond Souei's ability to gauge even through the Soul Corridor. And he wasn't alone in his curiosity. Diablo, too, had stayed by Rimuru's side from the beginning to the end. Reflecting on this, Soei felt a surge of envy. He was speechless about Diablo, that badass, always sneaking away, and Testarossa as well. Despite these thoughts, Soei felt helpless about the situation. Primordial White Testarossa's declaration to stay for the final battle, considering its implications, left Soei with mixed feelings. Scorched Dragon Velgrind, having noticed Rimuru's transformation, shifted her focus to protecting Emperor Rudra. Testarossa must have been aware of this, yet she chose to face Velgrind last, implying she believed she could achieve something by facing an opponent she surely couldn't win against. This realization sparked a hint of jealousy in Soei. From this perspective, Rimuru shared Souei's feelings. Known for his mastery of black flames, facing the Scorched Dragon, renowned as the God of Flames, Rimuru knew he couldn't even buy time. Understanding this, Rimuru consented to Testarossa's plan. Thus, while Soei cheered for Rimuru's victory, he also felt powerless about his own weakness. Here, we offer some additional context. Diablo and Zijan, upon receiving the reward of 100,000 souls from Rimuru, each awakened their ultimate skills. While Testarossa made her choice to fight Velgrind, Testarossa was undergoing a similar transformation. Although Ciel also offered help to Testarossa, it's evident that Testarossa's acquisition of her ultimate skill was quicker than the others. This fact highlights that Diablo, Zijan, and Testarossa have a superior understanding of magic and skills compared to Rimuru's other subordinates. More details will be provided later in our future episodes for Testarossa. Back to the story, Soei quickly adjusted his mindset, determined to end everything quickly and return to Rimuru-sama's side. Setting aside his distractions, Soei entered the gate without hesitation. His opponent was the Empire's fourth-ranked Imperial Guardian, Gardner. Gardner scornfully noted that his opponent was merely Soei, expecting a swift conclusion to the battle to return to Emperor Rudra's side for protection. Clearly, Gardner had researched his potential opponents. According to Tatsuya Konda's report, Soei's main duty was intelligence gathering, suggesting he might not be particularly skilled in combat. Hearing this, Soei sighed quietly, frustrated at spending valuable time on such an arrogant fool, promising to quickly resolve the battle. Soei's words thoroughly enraged Gardner, and the battle was imminent. During this brief exchange, Soei quickly assessed Gardner's strength, which Gardner himself failed to notice. Instead, Gardner recklessly swung his Azure Dragon blade, bestowed upon him by Velgrind, towards Soei. As the blade descended, Soei vanished into the shadows, dodging the attack. Taking advantage of Gardner's imbalance, Soei emerged from the shadows and fired a bullet from the Walther P99 handgun, striking Gardner and causing him to collapse, blood spewing from his mouth. This handgun, mentioned in episode 20, was produced by Kai Jean for the Monster Federation after Glenda Atlee joined. The bullets were enchanted with various magic effects like acceleration, lethal force, poison, and paralysis, ensuring that any formidable opponent could be eliminated in a moment of carelessness. Soei moved towards the door, confident in Gardner's demise. Suddenly, a blade swung down at Soei's head, and Gardner's Azure Dragon blade pierced Soei's chest. Laughing, Gardner found the quick resolution unsatisfying. Gardner's body lay on the ground, yet another unharmed Gardner stood. This was due to Gardner's acquisition of Emperor Rudra's ultimate enchantment, and one of Velgrind's skills, Parallel Existence. Unlike Velgrind, who had a vast magical amount allowing multiple parallel existences, Gardner could only create one, but it was enough to serve as a decoy and launch a surprise attack for a sure victory. To the surprise, Soei's cold voice reached Gardner, revealing that Soei had seen through everything. The beheaded Soei's body turned into black mist, reappearing behind Gardner, a product of the body clone's skill. Soei had anticipated Gardner's strength, and used Body Clone as bait to expose his skills, criticizing the waste of the impressive parallel existence on Gardner. Enraged by being outmaneuvered, Gardner felt humiliated. Soei, unfazed, attacked, intending to kill Gardner. In his dying moment, Gardner also launched his final gambit, burning his life force to create multiple parallel existences to attack simultaneously. Although this may lead to his death, it was preferable to being directly killed by the enemy. Unlike parallel existence, Body Clone's major flaw was that only the original could use unique skills. Thus, the one executing the lethal Shadow Striker was undoubtedly Soei's original body. This meant if Soei couldn't instantly eliminate all of Gardner's parallel existences, they would both perish in mutual destruction. Prepared for the ultimate sacrifice, Soei was resigned to his fate, knowing he might not fulfill Rimuru-sama's command to avoid death in the face of the current situation. However, in his moment of silent prayer for Rimuru-sama's forgiveness for potentially failing the order of no casualties, the voice of Ciel, the ultimate skill sales bitch, resounded once again.
Forgiveness is not granted, Soei, but neither is your demise permitted. Let me bestow upon you the power necessary.
Unlike Ejira, Soei immediately recognized the voice. As the head of the intelligence department, he knew better than to delve deeper into the origin of this voice.
Very well, your ultimate gift, Tsukuyomi, Lord of Moonshade, is hereby conferred.
In that instant, all of Soei's remaining body clones, due to this intervention, transformed into parallel existences. Gardner was thrown into utter disarray, convinced he had extinguished Soei's main body with his life-consuming strike, only for Soei's voice to eerily echo once more behind him, indicating another presence of his true self, simultaneously employing the ability Thousand Shadow Death. Soei's shadows stretched forth, morphing into a myriad of grasping hands that seized Gardner. This manifestation of the Lord of Moonshade's ability, Eye of the Moon, allowed for manipulation of shadows at will, enhancing attacks from various angles when combined with parallel existence. Meanwhile, Gardner, ensnared and in agony, met his end. Without hesitation, Soei departed from the site. The third door had been breached. Alright, that's all for this video. In this episode, with Ciel's pivotal assistance, both Shion and Soei managed to dramatically turn their battles around. Yet, Ciel wasn't ready to cease her aid. Next in line were the two primordial demons, Ultima and Carrera, whose battles will be the focus of our upcoming 2 episodes. Particularly because their adversaries, Damrata and Tatsuya Kondo respectively, played crucial roles not just in the fights but also in unveiling the truths behind the Empire and Emperor Rudra. In our next episode, we will talk about the battle between Ultima and Damrata. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support is greatly appreciated. See you in the next one.